Hello everyone, it's a new edition, so it's time for a new video. I'm going to be a bit more relaxed and uncharacteristically more optimistic this video, because contrary to what some people might think of my channel, I'm not really that much of a doomer, nor is my channel really that doomer orientated. Sure, I might make fun of the direction that 40k has been going these few years, and honestly I think all of it is warranted. However, despite all of Games Workshop's best efforts, I am really optimistic at heart. And so a lot of my jokes really are coming from a good place, and mainly because I'm a sarcastic bastard with a dark sense of humor. I still enjoy the hobby, and talking about the lore is really one of my favorite pastimes. One of the best things about the lore is really talking about the conspiracies about the lore, putting the points together. And so in this video, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna put my optimism hat on and talk about what I'm really hoping to see and what I'm really looking forward to coming from Games Workshop this coming year. And before I start, there are no leaks or rumors or anything like that. I don't have an insider line to Games Workshop like some people do. And so this is really just me hope maxing, and it's just me looking forward to what's coming up. So without any real theme or order to any of this, without further ado, let's get started. And number one, it's going to be a bit of a weird one. Some people might think it's a bit strange because they'll be thinking, well, isn't 10th edition already over? Isn't the 10th edition the TYRANID edition? After all, we did get that cool launch trailer, and Space Marine 2 was dropped in this edition, and at least half of the game was heavily involved with the Tyranids. And you know what? You are probably correct. But the more I think about it, the more I start to believe that these stories are really lagging behind an edition. Because if you think about it, the 8th edition was really the Chaos Rising edition, and I feel like part of that overflowed into the 9th edition, which was supposed to be the Necron edition. So in the 9th edition, a lot of people would have remembered the Pariah Nexus and the 9th edition launch box and the launch trailer and everything involved in that. However, near the end of the 9th edition, a lot of the news got overtaken by Vashtor, the Arcs of Omen, Engron, you know, the normal Chaos stuff, which kind of felt like it should have came out somewhere in 8th edition, so the Necrons got overshadowed there. And then came 10th edition with the Leviathan box and the launch trailer and Space Marine 2 and a lot of the marketing, and we were led to believe that it's going to be the Tyranid edition. However, we know now that that's not the case at all. In fact, it was really more of a Necron edition where the lore surrounding the Pariah Nexus and the animations and all of that kind of just overshadowed what should have been a Tyranid edition, which would have been very well be in the right place if it was in the last edition, but for some reason now it's in 10th edition. And I'm really all for it, since the Tyranids have a lot of cool things going on in the current lore. The obvious piece of lore that everyone should know by now would be the Octarius War, or rather should I say the aftermath of this, as the Tyranids have pretty much emerged the victors, and now the Imperium are now absolutely scrambling to cordon off the threat that's been building up all these years. And the interesting thing about this piece of lore is that this was an event that's been building up for more than a decade. In many cases, this piece of lore has crossed over into other stories. For example, in the Imperial Armor books, talking about the Badab War, it was specifically mentioned that Imperial reinforcements were extremely hard to call on, since all available manpower were called on to contain this threat. But besides that, the Tyranids are up to other more subtle and perhaps even more insidious projects as well. For example, what exactly is High Fleet Tiamat building in the Tiamat system? Is it their own version of the Pariah Nexus? Or is it their own version of the Astronomicon? Who really knows? But whatever it is, it's serious enough to bring Inquisitor Krypton back into the story. Oh, and this is another interesting one. Or how about the moon-sized Tyranid Death Star that the Raven Guards found? It seems like everyone has their own little Death Star now, it's kind of funny. And so what I'm trying to say is that there is a lot of interesting lore going on with the Tyranids, and it would be really nice if Games Workshop follows up on any of these loose ends and we get a series of books like the Arc Bowman of the Pariah Nexus series. Alright, and next up is the Grey Knights refresh, and as of writing this, there has been another Ultramarines release. What the hell's going on? Now, this is one where I am potentially biased since I do collect Grey Knights. However, besides that, I think Grey Knights have been done very dirty in 10th edition. Not only did the war gear options really kill off their characters of their models with their combined close combat weapons, but also the fact that Games Workshop basically gutted the entire Psychic phase as well. And so, previously, with the Grey Knights, even though they had a small roster, just because all their units could pick up their own little Psychic powers meant that they had a lot of army building potential, because, for example, you could bring in a smaller 5-man squad for extra smites. However, the flip side would be that the Grey Knight unit would be a lot more brittle. And this is not even mentioning the characters or paladin squads being able to pick their own psychic powers. So despite having a small roster, you could now have tailor-made units that are for purely frontline combat, or you can have them as psychic powerhouses, or you can have them as buffers, or you can even have them zip around using Gate of Infinity. And it made the roster seem a lot larger than what it really was on paper. If this was all not enough, Games Workshop then came along and not even gave them a new unit, not even a new model, they just gave them an upgrade sprue for their worst, least popular model. And so, due to these reasons, I really do think that Games Workshop really owes it to the Grey Knight players and released their refresh relatively early within the edition. And if they muck it up, then I'll probably have to make a EXE video out of it, out of spite. Also, lastly, if they ever get a refresh, what would actually happen to the little Terminator in the middle of the Dread Knight? Will that get an upgrade sprue itself? I really wonder. I'm going to admit, this is going to be a very strange one, and this is going to be the Christmas boxes. And these are kind of great because the Christmas boxes usually have some of the newer models. If you look through the past offerings, you'd see new Primarchs, some of the new 8-bounds, the newer-ish models that were released during the year and at a discount as well. The main issue with it is that sometimes your army is not catered to, in which case, yeah, that's too bad. And at other times, it's just a question of availability. But I think it's close enough towards Christmas now that I think it's actually something that should be on the calendar, but it's not so close that you can't start saving for it. Like if you save maybe like $1 or $2 every single day, I think by the time Christmas rolls around, you'd be able to just get a box if you're lucky. Definitely a weird pick to be sure, and definitely luck dependent, but if you're hoping to collect for a new army, or if you just got into the hobby, then Christmas boxes are definitely something to really look forward to. And lastly, I would not be able to use a World Eaters avatar for my channel without actually mentioning World Eaters. And this is going to be a complete tinfoil theory, but I feel like that maybe the World Eaters community have broken through into Games Workshop's meeting rooms, and maybe perhaps we would get like a new model, Terminators perhaps, just wishful thinking. Anyways, this is just a fun little video that I just wanted to do. Don't want to be too negative most of the time, so that's one of the inspirations why I did this video. And by the channel update, I might as well do this now. So for the long-term subscribers of my channel, I've always said that I'm not really too confident with my voice. But with the Dustfront EXE video, for some reason, I think the audio actually went quite well. And so I think I'm going to plan and start doing more narrated videos from now on. Obviously, the edited videos and the more accurate videos will still be on their way. I'm pretty sure they're like a channel staple nowadays. And yeah, no, there's just going to be more content from now on.